You know, I've been in the trucking industry for over 30 years, and I've seen pay go up pretty dramatically. A lot of guys don't believe that, but it's true. The pay has gone up dramatically, but there's still some companies that are woefully behind. And when you look at how much time a driver spends away from home, the compensation it really isn't there. Of course, there's a fine line you have to walk. If you pay too much, then of course the cost of things go up for everyone. But if you don't pay enough, you don't get a quality driver. And that's the conundrum. And I was looking here, and excuse me because I'm an old man, I got to put my glasses on because I can't see. So I'm looking here on Indeed.com. Now, you got here heavy haul driver, right? Combined Transport, which is a big company. $70,000 to $95,000 a year. Now, that is not enough for heavy haul. I mean, heavy haul drivers have been making six figures for a long time. 70, 95,000 would be the very bottom end if you were entry level heavy haul driver. Because when you think about it, you have to, I mean, you're gone for a long time. These are loads, it could take you, days, weeks to get across the country. You have so many different regulations, depending on the size, you can't travel at night. And, you got curfews going through large cities. It takes a while. So we got combined here, $70,000 to $95,000, right? Now, they want 2 years OTR experience, 1 year of driving experience with one of the following trailer, RGN, right? It's so you want a guy with at least 1 year experience pulling that kind of stuff. But you're only going to pay him $70,000 to $95,000 a year. You're not going to get a quality driver. Not for heavy haul. Like I said, entry level maybe, but not a guy that's already experienced. He's not going to go to Combine and make that. We can go somewhere else and make 150 grand a year. It's just that's ridiculous. Here we got a company here, Rouse Car and Son. Don't know where that's, somewhere in Texas. $2,200, $2,500 a week. That's just for a regular OTR driver. That's not even for anything special. Well, it is hazmat, liquid gases. So that's hazmat. They want hazmat, tanker, and TWIC. Okay, $2,200 to $2,500. It's not bad. Not bad. Considering that you have to have hazmat, it's been one of my beefs for a long time with hazmat, and I have hazmat. I have all endorsements. Is for a long time you didn't make any more money having hazmat, so why do it, right? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. You get a guy hauling, and hazmat's not always something particularly that dangerous, but some of it is. Get a guy hauling explosives or something, and you're paying him the same as some guy hauling, eggs or something. I mean, it's just nothing against a guy hauling eggs, but I mean, come on, man. Hellwig and Son, 55 cents a mile. It's not bad. They hire a lot of student drivers, so 55 cents a mile. It's a good starter company. If you work there and you got experience, I guess if you work there long enough, you'll move up. Don't know how much, but here's 369 Logistics, $1,800 to $2,500 a week. Tanker endorsement and hazmat. Here we go again. What do they do? Let's see. Prioritize. Say. Doesn't really say. 48 states. They're based in Houston. $1,800 to $2,500 a week. That's all it tells you. It's not bad. Like I say, you should get more pay for hazmat and tanker, because tankers, depending on what kind of tank trailer it is, can be very dangerous. I never, in 30-something years of driving, I never hauled a load of milk until last year. I did it about 3-4 times. I hauled a load from Amarillo, Texas, out to Casa Grande, Arizona a few times. And there are no baffles in milk trailers. None. So it just sloshes back and forth, side to side. And it can be quite an experience. So if you've never done it, yeah. But this is not what this is, because this is hazmat, obviously. 18 to 2,500, that's not bad. It says fuel discount. I don't know what that means. It says Class A OTR driver. It doesn't say owner operator, so I don't know. Hurricane Express, lease purchase. We all know about Hurricane Express. Don't go anywhere near that. Covenant Transport, 52 cents to 74 cents a mile. I would imagine there's probably more guys making 52 cents a mile than 74. Now, if you just got out of truck driving school, hey man, 50 cents a mile, 52 cents, not bad. I hate to sound like an old guy, back in my day, but when I started driving, I was making 19 cents a mile. And I thought I was somebody now. Let me tell you something. 74 cents a mile is not bad money. They're paying that up here in Alaska. Unless you're running the haul road, then you get more. K&B Transportation, up to, that's what you got to be careful, $2,000 a week. Now, I've heard K&B actually does pay well. So maybe it's pretty easy to make that $2,000 a week. I don't know. I don't know anything about K&B. But that's my understanding is, what is going on here? I don't know. Anyway, sorry. My understanding is that K&B does pay pretty well. So, see, we got here Kimrad. Now, I know Kimrad well because I worked the oil fields in West Texas. Kimrad's based out of Amarillo. Right? So, right here it says $1,500 to $1,800 a week. Kimrad's always been on the low side. When I was hauling crude oil, I thought about going to work for Kimrad, but they're on the low side, man. $1,500 to $1,800 a week. Now, this is just for regional drivers. Kimrad does other things. Kimrad hauls anhydrous as well as crude oil. They also haul milk, and they haul asphalt. So not everything they do is hazmat, but I can bet you that this is going to require hazmat. Let's see. What do they say they need? Hazmat endorsement, yeah. CDL with tanker and 2 years tractor trailer driving experience. I'm not saying that Kimrad's a bad company. I know several guys that work for Kimrad. I don't know them well, but I know of them. You live in the Texas Panhandle, and you get to know some Kimrad guys, right? So, $1,500 to $1,800 a week. It's regional. You're not home every day, but you're probably home for every 34-hour restart. But I know it's Kimrad. Most of those guys don't go any further than like Arizona, Colorado. They stay within that region of the country. You're never too far from Amarillo or from the Texas Panhandle. So they do run a few trucks east, like over toward the southeast, but most of their stuff is Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Colorado, Arizona, like that. So you're never real far from home. Let's see, nationwide cargo, $8,000 to $1,500 a month, or $15,000 a month. That's not bad. Kinco, $1,500 to $3,000 a week. $3,000 a week? How does it jump from $15,000 to $3,000 a week? Do you have to do something special for that? Experienced heavy haul drivers. Okay. Well, $3,000 a week's not bad. The $1,500, maybe if you're, in training for it or something, and whatever. Now, here's $96,000 to $110,000 a year. Ramrod Trucking. This is not going to be a regular trucking company. While driving 50,000 miles. Drive a testing trailer to site on Friday. Set up testing trailer, stage nearby, wait instructions. This is a specialty thing. 1 year experience with a manual 10, 13, or 18 speed transmission. So you can't just be a steering wheel holder. You got to actually know how to shift gears, right? The ideal candidate will exhibit the following traits: patience, cautious, I probably should say cautiousness, active communication, mechanically inclined, quick thinking, flexible. Mechanically inclined will cut out about 60% of the drivers running up and down the interstate right now. These guys don't even know how to change a mud flap. So you got to get old dinosaurs like me to do this kind of job. And we're getting fewer and fewer and fewer out there, right? So that's who this is for. This is for dinosaurs like me. You can see, because of the nature of the position, you typically would get 4 to 6 weeks paid time off a year, or sometimes more, depending on the client's needs. Now that's not bad. This is not bad here. Oh, I may apply to this. No, I'm not going to. The majority of the job will not be driving, but will provide hotel and meal per diem. There is a lot of downtime to do as you please, but requires flexibility to act swiftly when needed. This might not be a bad job here. Ramrod Trucking. So that's not bad money considering if you got a lot of downtime. It's not bad at all. Late Express, flatbed driver, SAP friendly, $1,500 to $2,200 a week. For being SAP friendly, that's not bad because a lot of these guys have trouble getting jobs. You end up hauling rock or something for little pay. You know, it says they have a great safety score, so consistent work. Only one violation on the clearinghouse. So if you only have one violation on the clearinghouse, they can hire you. So it's looks like it's probably reefer work. 8 years doesn't say. No, flatbed. I'm sorry, I said flatbed. Late Express. I don't think I've ever heard of Late Express. Not bad money considering, you know, it's SAP friendly as well. You know, like I said, those guys, there's a limited number of jobs they can take. It's just some of these companies, Dance One Tours, $235, $275 a day. That's probably driving a tour, you know, for doing tours and stuff. Yeah, hauling sound and show equipment. Yeah, $235, $275 business experience, paid for every day you are out. Okay. I don't know. I wouldn't do it. I would not get involved in tour work because all it takes is another pandemic and they shut everything down and you're out of a job. But one thing everybody always needs is food and fuel. And there's a few other things in there, right? But they always need food and fuel, and water, things like that. So if you're pulling a reefer, if you're pulling a tanker, and yeah, if you're pulling a flatbed too, I mean, there's certain things that they have to have. They do not have to have a concert. And they can shut that right down. So I personally wouldn't get into that business because you just never know what the freaking government's going to do anymore, man. I'm not trying to get political, I'm just saying. Anyway, there's some decent out here. Here's lease purchase, $2 to $3 a mile. Now here's a lease purchase, $475 to $700 a week. Really? Are you serious? Now this says our flatbed lease purchase drivers can take home over $2,000 per week, home every weekend. So I don't know where that other money came from. Oh, $475 to $700 a week in payment, depending on make and model truck. That's what it is. Well, they should clarify that. Otherwise, people are going to think they're only going to make $700 a week. Let's see, anything, owner operator, okay, 6 to 10 grand a week. Oh, pardon me. I was trying to yawn. Anyway, the pay has gone up, but, ooh, my voice is cracking. Wow. The pay has gone up. It's gotten better than it used to be. But, you know, I saw a thing the other day where Aurora, which is an autonomous trucking company, was wanting the FMCSA to change the rules. Like here in the States, if you break down You have to put out either triangles or flares, right? Most people just do triangles because they call them hazmat. You can't do flares, and there's so many reasons why you can't. So most people just do triangles, but you can do either one. Well, obviously, if it's an autonomous truck, there's no one there to put out the triangles. So they're wanting to change that rule where they can just have beacons on the truck. So I guess the truck breaks down, they can activate these beacons, right? Why should we change the rules for an autonomous truck company? They won't change the rules for us. If there's any kind of common sense thing out there that we need, and they got some ridiculous regulation against it, they're not going to change it for us. So why should they change anything for an autonomous trucking company that's taking our jobs? It's just my opinion. Anyway, I just thought I'd go through some of the things with the money, with the pay. The pay's gone up a lot since I started driving over 30 years ago. I mean, a lot of guys will say, oh, the pay hasn't gone up in 20 years. Well, yeah, it has. It has. Now, is it gone up enough? I'm going to make a lot of people mad here. You have guys out there who they do not know how to do anything but go up and down the interstate, and that's it. I remember I was in Iron City, Georgia, of all places, picking up a load of sweet corn, go back to Dallas, and there was a Trans Am driver at the same place, and he was going back to Dallas. Somewhere else. I was going to the produce market. I don't remember where he was going. But anyway, he asked me how I was going back. And I said, well, I'm going to run up here through Troy and, not Bainbridge, but Brundage, Alabama, Troy, up to Montgomery, hit 80 west, to Cuba, Alabama, hit I-20, go I-20 all the way to Texas. He said, oh, I can't do that. That's what it means. They want us to go run south to I-10 in Florida, and then run west to, all the way across Louisiana and hit I-49 and go north. I said, what? They want you to run south to Florida to go northwest to Dallas. He said, yeah, they want us on the interstate as much as possible. And I'm like, seriously? And this was probably 15 years ago. Nah, maybe not 10 years ago now. I was like, seriously? That makes no sense. He said, yeah, they don't want us on the interstate. And why would you, look, if you can't trust your driver to run, and by the way, all those roads in Alabama getting to Montgomery are 4-lane. Anybody's ever run through that way? It's a 4-lane road. Now, I hate that road. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I hate that road because there is red light after red light after, I'm telling you, somebody 100 years ago, 80 years ago, whenever, came to Alabama, a red light salesman, and he made a fortune. This is no lie, I was in a town in Alabama with 100 people, population 100, they had 2 red lights. 2 red lights. And I hit both of them red, and there was no one on the cross street, right? So Alabama probably leads the nation in the number of red lights per capita. So I hate going up that way. But I hate even more going out of the way. Now, if I only had to go 5 or 10 miles out of the way, and it meant me getting somewhere faster, yeah, I would do that. But I'm not going to drive all the way down to the I-10 in Florida. Not that Florida's all that far from Iron City, but still. And then cut across and deal with all that. Then just cut up to Montgomery, go through all the red light BS, and run I-80. You're going the direction that you need to go the entire trip. But if you can't trust a driver to run those roads, then why are you hiring them? But it's because these companies have dumbed themselves down so much that we have the type of driver that we have. You want to know why we have the type of drivers we have? You can blame the trucking industry and the federal government. When you overregulate these industries to the point to where you treat all these drivers like children, they're going to act like children. And when the trucking companies treat them like children, they're going to act like children. And you have guys out here, like that one job I was talking about, who cannot change a mud flat bracket, man. I used to carry enough tools to rebuild a dang engine if I had to. Now, I'm not going to tell you I know how to rebuild an engine, but I've changed alternators on the road. I've changed starters on the road. I've changed AC compressors on the road. Belts, plenty of mud flaps. I've done all kind of little, redneck engineering jobs to get me someplace. Yeah. But you don't have guys like that out here anymore. Because you have companies like Trans Am and there's a bunch of other ones where they don't want their drivers to think. Don't think. See, at one company, they want you to be able to think. No, most companies, nope, don't think. Just do what we say. We're watching you. We got that camera. We're watching you all the time. Not that it does any good. You can go on YouTube and find dozens of videos of guys getting in wrecks, not paying attention, and have a camera looking at them. So the camera thing's ridiculous. All it does is give the other side ammunition, right? You get in an accident, even if it's not your fault, you have to provide that camera footage to the defense. Somebody's going to sue you. If it's someone in a car, you can damn well bet they're going to sue you. I know of drivers who've had people rear end them. It's not the truck driver's fault. And they'll still turn around and try to sue that truck driver and that trucking company, right? So they're going to sue you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's their fault. They're still going to try to sue you. Because to the average American car driver, nothing is their fault. Everything that is done is someone else's fault, right? They can do whatever they want, and it's okay. So you have to provide that footage. So you're going down the road and someone hits you in a car. And you think, pretty straightforward, they hit me. They come off a side street, or they slammed right into me. It's their fault. They decide to sue. Not worried about it. It's their fault. Right? The discovery process, your attorney or the insurance company's attorney's got to provide all the camera footage to the defense. So what? It's their fault. No big deal. So what the defense says is, well, right before that accident, that driver, because we have a camera looking at that driver turned his head for a second. Now, you may have been turning to look in the mirror, look at a gauge, look in the right mirror, whatever. You blinked, something caught your eye on the road, but for that split second that really had nothing to do with the accident, you looked away. You can damn well bet that the defense attorney is going to make it the fault of the accident. He's going to say, if your driver hadn't looked away for that second, he would have saw my client. Those cameras looking at the driver are nothing but a detriment. They destroy any independence that the driver has. He no longer thinks for himself. He no longer uses his wits to drive. He's no longer going to be dependable because he's just a robot at that point. And all he can do is go up and down the interstate. That's it. That's all he knows how to do. And he won't do anything else. He won't. And he can't. So that's the kind of driver we have today. So when we talk about driver pay, and you talk about autonomous trucks, do a lot of these drivers deserve more money? Probably not. Some of them do. Some of them do. But if you're a driver that wants to do nothing more than hold the steering wheel, and that's it, you want to go up and down a 4-lane interstate highway, you don't want to drive at night, you don't want to drive when the weather may be a little bad, right? You're going to be the first guy to get replaced by an autonomous truck because you're not needed. You don't deserve probably the pay you're getting now, and you're not going to be needed in the future. It's the guys who know how to think on their feet. They know how to do it. I'm not saying you got to be a mechanic, but can change a mud flap at least. Can drive, any hour of the day that they need something, done. Is not afraid to drive. I'm not saying drive when it's too dangerous to drive. But drive when there's a little inclement weather, like here in Alaska. I mean, you can't shut down every time it snows. You'd be shut down for 9 months. But if you can't do any of those things, you're not going to. Why shouldn't they replace you? So that's just my thoughts on that. So the pay needs to go up, especially in the oil field, man. Pay in the oil field is terrible right now. And I get it, we don't have another big boom. Now you go down to Midland, Odessa, the Permian Basin, parts of southeast New Mexico, the pay's all right. But anywhere else where it's not booming, the pay's not good right now. And that's why I got out of it. So yeah, that's my thoughts on this. Make yourself needed. I'm always needed everywhere I go, or at least wanted. I'm not saying like the company's going to collapse if you leave, of course not. But make it to where if you do have to leave, they're like, man, I sure wish you would stay, right? But if you leave and they're like, another driver gone, you didn't leave much of an impression. Even if you work for a big company, right? You're a guy my age, say, with my experience, and you decide, you know what, I want to go work for a big company. I want the health benefits and all that comes along with it. I want the structure of it. I can always get a load. If not, they're going to pay me, good layover pay. I'll have a clean, decent truck, whatever. Even at a big company like that, you can make yourself needed. You can make yourself not as expendable as most other drivers. It's harder to stand out from the crowd, but you can do it, and you should do it. Anyway, that's my random ramblings. I wish you would like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. I'll try to do more ramblings maybe. If you want to hear it, great. If you don't want to hear it, I understand. But I've got over 30 years in here, man. And I don't complain. I don't whine just for the sake of whining. If I have a complaint, it's legitimate. But the trucking industry needs a change in this country, and probably in Europe and Australia as well. Australia's getting pretty militant as well. Here in Alaska, it's not too bad. We get away with a lot more stuff up here than they'll do down in the lower 48. So, it is what it is. But the trucking industry in America needs a change. And if it changes, you could get back to having real truck drivers again, and the pay would go up because it'd be more of a niche market. It used to be a niche market. It's not anymore. Anybody can go out and get a CDL now. There's still certain jobs that not everyone can do. Everyone can't do what I'm doing up here. But there's still certain jobs out there that everyone can do. And that hurts the pay of all of us. Right? So anyway, that's my ramblings on it. Please like and subscribe, especially if you're a truck driver or if you're in the trucking industry. I'm going to try to do more of these and bring some information and some thoughts from a guy with a lot of experience. See you later.